Confirmed delays for Walt Disney's animatronic at the Main Street Opera House, but look what else we're getting. Tortilla Joe's is behind construction walls, and oh my god, what have they done? Okay, we're gonna get to that, and also this big pile of dirt at Avengers Campus, but let's start our story today in downtown Disney with that Tortilla Joe's thing. Yes! The levels of excitement that I have for this project reach well beyond its actual importance in the overall scheme of things, but I do love a good demo. And I wasn't never particularly fond of Tortilla Joe's anyway, so I'm not going to miss it. But yeah, so the construction walls are up and we've got a permit confirming again that the whole building is going to be demolished. And now it's just a matter of time before we start seeing crews out here doing some demo. Oh, look at that. I found a hole. Okay, we're going to take a look at this. This will probably be the one and only chance we're going to get to look through these holes. They cover these up usually pretty quickly, but nothing happening here yet. Nothing has been dug up. We're going to hope we get a peek here. And I did speak with somebody who confirmed that it was originally planned for this building to be reskinned into the new steakhouse and barbecue joint. And that was very obvious from the concept art. You could tell the concept art suggested that they looked very similar. You could easily see the comparisons between the concept art and the existing Tortilla Joe's building. But now Disney has changed their mind and they are going to demo it and build it up from scratch. Hopefully they've got a good plan for that, because I'm sure the schematics and all that and the blueprints were different for a rebuild versus a remodel. But I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. But my guess is, as far as what we're going to be able to see in the coming weeks, is not much. They're going to take down and scrap everything inside, probably strip it for parts. They'll do that first. They'll disassemble the interiors first, and then they'll start taking the big heavy machinery, the wrecking balls, etc. Although I don't think they do wrecking balls anymore, but that'll be the last thing they do. We'll check the monorail next, where surprise, surprise, I didn't even have to go upstairs this week to see anything. That they have sort of gone into phase 2 of the new arch there. They've constructed a new little thing there at the monorail check-in, the monorail gate. So that has a lot of progress since last week. So maybe they will get that thing done in time in the next month or so. While I was back there in downtown Disney, I also checked the backside. We saw some crews here in the back a couple weeks ago, but nothing this week. It looks like whatever they were doing back there has been completed. Also, may I add, when you go to the downtown Disney bag check, you see these colored walls here. It's typical construction walls, except they've been there for got to be 2 years now. They've been here for 2 years and nothing has happened. I have no idea. It's just concrete behind it. I mean, there was nothing in there before. It was just blacktop. But why have they been up for 2 years and for no apparent reason? It's just like that space doesn't exist in time anymore. It's a black hole. Still waiting for them to do anything with this 90s era downtown. They're supposed to redesign this entrance into something more mid-century modern, according to that concept art we saw. Let's check ESPN Zone. The scrim is up a little bit. You guys see that? Look at that. We can get the camera in there now. We can look inside. There's the Disney Imagination Campus sign inside there. We saw that through the scrim last week, but you can kind of see, look how cavernous that is back there. And I don't know if you noticed, we'll go back again, do you guys remember that Mickey pop-up photo thing they did many years ago? I want to say, God, this was pre-COVID. It's still there, right there. That yellow, the bows, those yellow bows, those were part of you would walk through and take these really cool pictures. It was kind of a fun event. We did that, Liz and I did, and it was interesting. I wonder how much of that is still there. Meanwhile, as we noted last week, the little murals have come down revealing those sports figures that were etched in stone into the building. Those are still there as well. The brick veneers are still there also. And I was reminded, I didn't catch this last week. I was noticing that you can see there's kind of like the heads are separate from the bodies. Those heads were articulated. They were animated. They would bobble around. They would rotate back and forth a little bit, kind of bobble a little bit. It was kind of creepy. And when I think about it now, I'm like, oh my God, somebody thought that was a good idea one time. Wild. All right, Earl's Sandwich. I'm just stopping here to know that there's no progress happening. This is where Porto's is going to go, but I don't expect anything to happen here with that Porto's building for some time. All we have is concept art, but I think they're going to want to get the Earl's Sandwich a little further on, I should say, before they start demoing the Earl's Sandwich down there at the entrance or the beginning of downtown Disney. But yeah, that Porto's is going to expand that whole space. It's going to take in the seating area, probably come out to about where those green lighting fixtures are, is my guess. Speaking of Earl's, let's go back to the backside of downtown Disney and see we still got the same vertical steel that looks about how we left it last week and the week before. They're going to build this. They got to get very near to finishing this before they close the other Earls where Portis is going to go. But here's the look through that fence that we saw. I can't believe they haven't closed this on me yet. On the ground, a lot of dirt. Looks like they're putting forms up. They're getting ready to build some foundation. It looks like they've already poured some concrete. So they're making progress. They're about ready to start putting up walls, I think. And then lastly, no news yet on the third retail location here. We only have a permit suggesting they're going to start doing the build out, but that's going to take a little while, I think. Let's go to the main entrance next. Situation just as we've seen it for the past 6 weeks? I don't know how long. I can't remember how long it took them to build. We don't have a basis because they paused the whole thing for a little while, so we're not sure how long those phases are supposed to take. But I feel like it's been about 6 weeks now. It does look like, though, look, they did take down those construction walls that were here last week. Whatever issue they had with the concrete, the red bricks out in front, that has been resolved quickly. I would might add that was dirt just a few days ago. That was nothing but dirt. So I think it was plumbing. But here you can see that they have restored all the brickwork out in front. I know the coloration looks a little odd now. It looks different, looks a little obvious. But that will, over time, the color will fade and blend in with the rest. And then obviously no progress on the DCA side as well. We're still in the second section. No progress also. Well, I mean, there isn't supposed to be progress here. The Disneyland Railroad is closed. It's going to be closed now for, gosh, we're under a month now. We're looking at three weeks, just over 3 weeks. But all they're working on is the track. They're not working on the station at all. Here's some development. Okay, so Main Street Opera House, we know that it's been closed forever. And we talked last week about how there were some maintenance crews out there. They were doing something. It looked like they were painting. I tried to get in there, but Goofy and Pluto were too busy taking pictures, so I couldn't get my camera in there. But whatever it is that they were doing is done. But that's not really the big story. The big story here is, I called it. I had said in the last couple updates that I was hearing that the Walt animatronic was delayed until July, and that has been confirmed by Disney. Disney has actually vocalized this, which is kind of surprising. Well, I guess they had to, because the assumption was that they were going to do it on May 16th for the opening of the 70th. But yeah, Disney has confirmed that the Walt animatronic in that show will not open until July 17th. Now that's a bit of good news, bad news. The bad news is it's delayed. The good news is it's for a good reason. They want to get it right. They simply cannot miss. They cannot get any of this wrong. They cannot have a slow start. They can't miss anything. So I think they are just striving for perfection as much as possible. And I can't blame them for that, because you people are savage. Okay? I don't mean you. I mean the other people. Disneyland guests, Disneyland superfans can be savage sometimes. So I don't blame them for having a little bit of caution when it comes to this. But there's more news. There's more interesting news coming out of the story. The Disney Parks blog has explained that not only are we getting, the new Walt animatronic, they're redoing, obviously, the whole lobby, the whole, the Disney gallery is going to be updated. In that gallery, there's going to be some artifacts. They've borrowed some artifacts from the Walt Disney Family Museum, stuff that is actually in his. If you've never been in Walt's apartment above the fire station, this is the next best chance you're going to have of seeing what's up there. The rocking chair, the lamp, and I assume the table that the lamp is sitting on as well. You're going to be able to put eyes on that in the Disney gallery before you go see the Walt animatronic, that's incredible. And then after you see the show, when you exit, they're going to do one of those deals where they preview projects and what Disney's looking, going forward, or Disneyland forward. I hope, and then some of the other things that they've done over the past few years, kind of similar to what you see in that glass case that's been in the Disney gallery for years now. I'm sure if you've been in there, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that's great news. And then finally, as part of this update, Disney has announced that they've added some new lyrics to It's a Small World, an attraction that is closely attached to Walt Disney and his history. And I would imagine that's probably going to be mentioned in this show. That's probably why because all this is happening at the same time. The gallery is July 17th, the Walt Disney animatronic, and the new lyrics for Small World are going to appear on July 17th. They've actually revealed the lyrics. I'm just going to read them real quick so you can hear them. These are written by Richard Sherman himself. He and his brother wrote the original Small World theme song. So before anybody starts to get excited again about what are they doing, this is, the guy who's responsible for the history is also responsible for these lyrics. Mother Earth unites us in heart and mind, and the love we give makes us humankind. Through our vast, wondrous land, when we stand hand in hand, it's a small world after all. And I have a feeling that that's going to blend very nicely into the existing lyrics, the existing song and the whole structure of the song. We're going to probably notice it at first, but over time it'll blend right in. And I mean, I'm down. I'm absolutely down. I like it when they can, add more character and more detail to an attraction. I think that's great. And I'm looking forward to hearing that. By the way, I should go back too. There was a show, a special. They called it The Last Verse, and it was a documentary, a film about the writing of Small World and the Sherman Brothers. A segment from that show is going to be added to the Main Street Opera, so Disney Gallery, where they do those videos. Most recently, it was the one for the 100th anniversary. So look for a Sherman Brothers show in that location as well. We'll come back to Main Street, check in on the Jolly Holiday, which because of the rain and wind, they have rolled up the scrims, which gives us a pretty good look at how things are going inside there. Although it doesn't really, I don't have a discerning eye for anything that has been done. I know that there are people out there who could, but for example, I'm sure that they're redoing the tiles, or the shingles on the roof, but I don't see any difference yet, I don't think. But back here, now this is something different. We heard them and saw them working feverishly back here last week. That looks like, because now that's covered by a tarp, so I have a feeling perhaps that has been updated already. The shingles on the other side were not covered by tarp. Those shingles were. Indiana Jones, let's check in on our little scene back there. The generator is still gone. Now, one thing I didn't notice, and an eagle-eyed watcher of the show did, I didn't observe this at first. The generator is actually quite big, and it wouldn't fit in this available space. That means they've brought in those boxes are new, and you can kind of see how they're not rotting and decayed. These are new boxes. They have already started, right? That box on the bottom right there, I don't know about the barrel, and I'm pretty sure the same could be said for the blonde looking boxes to its right. Those look pretty new. So I have a pretty good feeling that they have already, it's just the generator that's left to update. Hallelujah. And the deck. Also, they got to finish the little deck down there. That's still rotted out, but that could be part of what they're doing while it's closed. There's a closure coming up for Jungle Cruise. Adventureland Treehouse, just wanted to give a little shout out to the buckets. Those are working. Thank you. We'll go to the New Orleans Square train station to check in on the break room that has been demoed. We can't see anything over the walls, but I can confirm once more that they did tear it down. It has been scrapped, and nothing has been built. Nothing has been built yet. There's nothing vertical happening there. They're probably gonna have to put in if they're gonna do it, if they're rebuilding it, they'll probably have to put in a new foundation. I'll keep my eyes and ears open on that, but so far nothing to report on that. Madame Leota's gift shop still behind construction walls. This is going to take a month or two, I think. So the walls are still up at the door to the main entrance door there. All that the front facade is covered by construction walls, and all the action right now is happening right underneath those two doors right there. That's where everything's happening. Although I tried to look again. Everything is covered by tarp, so even if there was something happening there, I wouldn't be able to see it because they're covered up for the rain. Stop by Rise of the Resistance to see if I could see if the if the cannons are still working. I feel like I need to do a welfare check or wellness check on those cannons, like on the regular, just to make sure everything's still going. And I noticed that it was a posted wait time of 80 minutes. 80, but look at this queue. This queue's empty. It's a rainy day, so it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't very busy. By the way, the water is back on here. Last few trips here, the water was off, that little waterfall there. That's back on. Look at that empty. But, there's the back of the queue. I was posted in that queue in there for like 5 or 10 minutes, and that's when I realized that they were probably down, maybe a Ray room. No, that wouldn't do it. They're down either the left or the right side. You know how you split before you go into interrogation? They're down an interrogation wing, basically, is what I'm guessing. Hey guys, if you'll allow me, let me take a quick break to remind you guys of our preferred travel partners, GetAwayToday. They are fans of our show, and we are fans of them. If you are planning a trip to the Disneyland Resort or to any Disney theme park or even to Universal or Alani or anything of that nature, make your travel arrangements through GetAwayToday. We love them. They are fantastic. They are the best in the business at making sure that you get everything you need out of a vacation at a Disneyland Resort or at the Disneyland Resort or Walt Disney World or anywhere you like. Knowledgeable, friendly, kind, and you'll probably get a good deal there. Use the link in our description for GetAwayToday. Let them know we sent you, and I hope you guys enjoy your trip. Over at Savvy's Workshop, we got some news. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's a new storyline, I guess is the right word. It's called Reclaimed and Reforged. It's going to be part of the Season of the Force. Actually, it's going to start on Star Wars Day, as I understand it, May 4th. New lightsaber parts that have been quote unquote scavenged by pirates throughout the galaxy. So it's I don't know how often they change the hilts, the lightsabers. I haven't done this since Galaxy's Edge first opened, so I don't know how this story evolves, but that is something that's come across our desk, as well as what's going on at the Droid Factory. Disney has announced that they are no longer going to be offering reservations to build a droid, which is interesting though how it's being phrased as if they're going to, like, they're canceling something, but literally you never need a reservation. It's a walk-in. Every time I go in there, there's always a bay. There's always bays open. The Droid Factory has run its course, maybe. So yeah, no more reservations, but you could just walk in anyway, no problem. Going next to Big Thunder, check in on the trash scene. Now it looks different, this scene. I hate to be a bug about this, but trash really bothers me. I don't see the cup exactly. That could be the cup, but tilted over. I'm not sure. But let's just go ahead and say, yeah, they went ahead and they cleaned up the cup, which is good. But now there's more trash. There's more trash. There's actually more trash than there was before. And whatever that thing is, that's been there for a couple of days now. I noticed that on our last trip through on, was it Wednesday? At least Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. They did fix the sign, which tells me that they possibly went in there and picked up the trash as well, because I can't imagine they would fix the claim jumping sign and not pick up whatever debris is in there. But that's the thing. But I'm going to give a pass on this one because it's been a rainy, couple days, and I think it's easy for trash to and windy. It's easy for trash to find its way accidentally into the water. So we'll check in on that next week. If that stuff is still there, then I might shake a fist or two. What the? Well, this is something we teased in the intro. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, I know it's being repaired. This is not, they're not destroying Snow White's Grotto, but still, it's so very striking to see it in this state. It's like when they dug up the queue for Haunted Mansion. I just can't. Okay, so it's probably getting some paint and polish, a little wood arch. I'm sure that's subject to rotten decay as well, and it's actual wood. So you got to believe that it's not going to last forever, and that needs to be kept up. But it's just my eyes do not like this. My eyes, you could see it from a distance, and you just knew something was wrong at Snow White's Grotto. This is a story that I will be keeping my eye on very closely every single day I'm in the park. I want to see what's going on here and then how that looks. I'm sure we won't even notice by the time they reinstall that thing. It'll look just like it always did. We won't even notice. Do a little drive-by next to Pixie Hollow, where the little water features, the spouts are not working still. I think they probably just turned those off. And nothing to observe either as we kind of take a stroll around there. I'm just hoping to see if I can see, maybe they'll take down a scrim or two or a wall or something, like, give us a sneak peek at what we might be able to see. But alas, same situation as before. Nothing but scrim, and we can't really see. We're too far away to be able to see through the scrim. Here's an interesting scrim. Speaking of scrims, this is the restroom on the backside of Alice in Wonderland between Matterhorn and the castle. I can't tell what that's for. It could be there's a little brick wall there that you could sit on, but I can't tell what it's for. What they're supposed to be working on there. Matterhorn. Our friends at Theme Park IQ posted this on their Twitter feed. New permits have been filed. Replacement of an installation of new cameras and illuminators, modify existing rockwork, and install new rockwork, I guess. Install new fall protection with electrical. So this doesn't sound like something that would rise to one of those regular refurb sessions that they're doing maybe like once a year or so. I don't think this is going to cause a closure of the attraction. I don't think. But we'll keep our eyes open to see if there's anything. It's not on the refurb calendar as of now, but it wouldn't surprise me though, because this is something that needs a lot of duct tape. The mountain does. Got an update for you from Casey Jr. We know there's a tree missing. A tree went down. No tree, but they do have now. Is that a bush? That's not like the beginning of a tree, right? That's just a bush, right? I don't know trees, but we have something growing now in that planter. I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate this. If this is good or bad. I would have preferred a tree if it's not. But if it is, then great. By the way, I will note also we are now going on at least 2 weeks, maybe 3, of Casey Jr. running just one train, which dramatically changes your go, no go status for Casey Jr. Always a go if there's 2 trains. You have to be a little bit more selective when there's just one train. At least I do anyway, because it does extend your wait quite a bit. It doubles it, basically. One train doubles your wait at Casey Jr. We'll cross the Esplanade, check in on Elias & Company down there on Buena Vista Street. The scrims are down here as well, revealing to us the stripped nature of Elias & Company, the facade there. And it's, kind of revealing. A little worse for wear, but I'm sure, again, that's just they got to replace the facades there. Same thing as we go around the backside of the building. I was supposed to ride the Pixar Pal around today, but it was very rainy, and you can see none of those gondolas are moving. Now, it is parked from time to time, but usually there's at least 1 or 2 swinging, but every single gondola is stuck. The ride was closed. I could not ride the Fun Wheel this week, but we do have these photos provided by a friend of the show who pointed out a couple of key things that we can observe here. A lot of staging just to the left of that pink building. That's the building behind the Ouija's. You could probably see this if you were to poke your head around the corner of that fence that I keep tempting myself to go look through. That's about the view of that from that point, just to the left of that pink building. And then, so that's staging for the new Avengers Campus development, or the e-ticket. But even better, here you go. Arrows were provided and everything. There's that staging on the left behind the building. We mentioned this last week, that everything that's happening right now in terms of the demo of the blacktop and everything that they're doing right now to get ready is happening behind that building, the pink building. That yellow arrow is showing us a giant pile of dirt. You can see the pile of dirt on the other side of the building. I don't know how close we can get without distorting the image, but there it is, which is tremendous. Tremendous. That's quite a mountain of dirt there. I don't have a name for it yet. I know that this is a thing we should be doing, but here's the thing. I don't want to force it. It's just going to come to me. It's just going to come to me. So that's right now a pile of dirt. And then there's another arrow. Yeah, there it is. There's another. Oh, it's a mini pile of dirt. There's 2 piles. There's a big one. And then over here on the right is a much smaller one. Things are happening backstage at Avengers Campus. Now, when I was shooting this recon coverage, Little Mermaid still had its walls up around the queue, but over the weekend, the walls came down and they have revealed, well, it's not nothing. It's not as exciting as I had hoped it would be, but it is an ADA ramp. They have, in fact, built an ADA ramp. We thought it might be some kind of new lightning lane entrance, but that is not the case here. They have constructed a new ADA ramp, and obviously there's no way guests are going up this ramp to get into the queue, to get into the building. There's just no way that's the case. This is definitely, as the sign indicates, exit only. I'm not exactly sure that it was necessary per se. I mean, I guess it would have been quite easy for ADA guests to exit through the entrance, the traditional way, I would think. Here's a quick look at how it looked prior to the walls going up. You can see it was just the wall there, and they have at some point, the ramp will intersect with those guests there. It's curious. I am wondering where they merge, where they're going to merge those exiting guests, because that's queue right there. Right next to this ramp is standby queue. So they send them, I don't know, that's going to be interesting. We'll do a walkthrough at some point next week, hopefully, and see how this works. But for now, nothing too sexy, just an ADA ramp at Little Mermaid. Redwood Creek was closed on this day, and it's got a closure coming up, but stay tuned for developments on Redwood Creek as well. Something is happening here. It's being closed. To what end, I'm not sure, but I now don't think it's related to the Grand Californian refurb. Stay tuned. I'm going to hope to find out more on this. I'm not sure if it's a big story or not, but something is happening there. And then lastly, Grizzly River Run. Again, we can't really see much happening here because of the rain, so they've got everything covered up, but we can see that they did actually evolve those logs there, the fabricated faux wood logs there. They're into another stage. They've added I don't know what you call that, the texture to the log, so it's no longer just mesh. They've added the texture to it, and then they got to paint it and add a little bit more finish to that. But they're making progress there. progress here on this side as well. They added the rail. The bumper has been added to the new gray whatchamacallits. They've added a bumper to those. But look at that. There's water at Grizzly River Run. It's been raining enough that there's actually some accumulation at Grizzly River Run. So they're probably that's what that pump is for, I'm sure, is to get that water out of there. Got some scaffolding up here at the final drop. Don't know what that's for. But there you go. Let's take a look at the refurb calendar, wrap things up. As mentioned, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln closed. It's been closed now for nearly a year. My goodness, has it been that long? No, still no date yet. Tinkerbell, the Pixie Hollow meet and greet. It looks there's some confusion on the calendar right now, but it looks like it may reopen on March 22nd. The monorail is scheduled for reopening on March 7th, assuming that they get the new entrance at the downtown Disney location built in time. So too will be the Disneyland Railroad. That's scheduled to reopen on March 7th. Jolly Holiday Bakery, we have a date. That's going to reopen on March 22nd. So that's just a little over a month from now. That's actually pretty good. Has it already been a month? Goodness. It's a Small World. We talked about that. We got some changes coming. That's closed until April at least, is my understanding. Indiana Jones closing on March 17th. No date yet. So that suggests at least a month or two. Probably. I would say, well, at least a month. And then Grizzly River Run. We have a date. Grizzly River Run is expected to reopen on March 14th. And then we have a closure for Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, closing on March 10th, reopening on March 21st. That's a 2 weeks, not quite 2 weeks closure. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.